We're seeking our origins. Who are we? What are we? Why are we here? We're trying to get back to our origins. That's the whole idea. I became known as an explorer. I found numerous lost temples and cities, and I had read about secret priesthoods of the sun that lived the great ages, and I was trying to figure out how those priests could live longer than normal people based on the sun. And what was it? So instead of reading about it, because you could find no literature on it, I had to experience it for myself. So I became a sun gazer, I suppose you could call it that. But I found out through experience that there was more to the power of the sun than just looking at it. I quested after the knowledge that I could find in the light of the sun.
The early church was a solar religion. What happened subsequently with Rome, when they outlawed and they banned looking at the sun, it changed the church. Because the early Christians were looking at the sun.
And how to observe and perceive that sun is the object and was the object of these higher teachings, of these old mystical schools.
Many, many manuscripts have been found which point to these solar traditions. And we know that Jesus was into the solar teachings because he talked about them. In the New Testament, there are many, many references. Once one comes into the sun, comes into the teachings, and realizes the true origins of these teachings, all these things become clear. What happens with the initial stages of sun gazing is that one's consciousness is expanded. And once that begins to happen, all kinds of things happen.
I was not interested in reading about Jesus. I wanted to do what he was doing. The only way that an individual can understand what Jesus was doing was to look at the sun. You had to understand what he was doing. Why was he doing it? Why did they look at the sun? Because they wanted to bring faculties, spiritual faculties that were normally dormant in the individual awake. And once those faculties were awake, they could then understand and comprehend what he was doing. So all these books that are written, the Gospels and so on, about Jesus or encoded, you have to learn how to decipher what was meant by the teachings of Jesus, what he meant. The whole secret of our process of teaching is to participate in the evolution of the species. The evolution of the species in a reasonable, logical, spiritual manner, which was the object of all the ancient orders, and to perpetuate existence as we know it on a higher level.